Good morning, class 12. So we have come to the last chapter of your syllabus. We are discussing chapter 10, and in my previous class I spoke about globalization and the advantages and disadvantages of globalization that the entire world is facing. So one important part of your chapter is regarding globalization. Today I will discuss another important topic, that is Earth Summit, right? So the second important topic in this particular chapter is Earth Summit. It has different names. It is also called the Rio Summit. It is also called UNCED, which means United Nations Convention on Environment and Development. Now, why is it called the Earth Summit? Is because for the first time 178 countries had come together in a place called Rio de Janeiro to discuss environmental issues. Earlier also, most of the countries were interacting and meeting with each other, but only to discuss political agenda. Environment was never an agenda before 1972 for countries because they have never faced environmental crisis and environmental damages. So once the countries started feeling the damages that were coming to the environment, the irreversible changes that were taking place, which had no remedy, for the first time an unprecedented event happened in 1972, where 178 heads of countries, they met under one roof in Rio de Janeiro to discuss environmental issues. That is why the name given is Earth Summit. Earth Summit, where we are trying to discuss what was happening with the environment. It was also called the Rio Summit because it took place in a place called Rio de Janeiro, and also the name was given United Nations Convention on Environment and Development, right? So you have to remember, why is this particular meeting so significant? Is because it is an unprecedented event where for the first time 178 heads of countries were meeting to discuss environmental issues. Environmental issue concern by so many countries together was for the first time, and this meeting took place on 3rd June to 14th June in the year 1992. Okay, and the last Earth Summit that we had was in the year 2012, again in Rio de Janeiro. Okay, now we will try to understand what was the agenda, what was the outcome of this particular meeting. I have given you in your notes. If you read that once, you will very clearly understand after today's explanation. What was the agenda of this particular meeting? The first agenda was called Rio Declaration. Okay, the first agenda was Rio Declaration. Rio Declaration, obviously, because this declaration was made in Rio de Janeiro. Rio Declaration. What did this first agenda say? It told the countries, the 178 countries, it was told that you have the right to develop. Every country has the right to develop. How do we develop? We make industries and factories and roads and hotels and flyovers. So the declaration told you develop. Every country has the right to do what is required to make their country a developed one. But the development should be sustainable development. The development should not damage the environment at all. That is Rio Declaration. I'm repeating, Rio Declaration stated that every country has the right to develop, but at the same time, it is their duty to cater to the needs of the environment. That means they cannot destroy the environment for development. In simple language, their development should be sustainable development. This was was number 1, Rio Declaration, right? The second agenda that was discussed was called Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21? It is called Agenda 21. This agenda said that whatever development you have, that development should be socially, economically and ecologically sustainable. I repeat, Agenda 21 says that all development should be socially, ecologically and environmentally sustainable. Now, socially sustainable. What does socially sustainable mean? When you have a development program, socially sustainable means that developmental project should cater to the needs of society. People should be benefited because of your project. Second, economically sustainable, meaning your project should bring finance to the country, it should bring money to the country. Your country should grow financially. The third one, ecologically sustainable, meaning that your development should not damage the environment. So you develop, but how do you develop? Your development should have these 3 properties. That is, cater to the needs of the people. The second one, bring a lot of money to your country. And the third one, it should not disturb your environment. So that is Agenda 21, right? Then the rest of the 3 agendas are very simple to understand. The third agenda was Principle on Forest Management. So Principle on Forest Management, what did it tell the countries? 178 signatories. They were told that what forest is disappearing, as we all know, not here, not in India, but in each and every country, right? So what does Principle of Forest Management state? It states that every country should take such steps to conserve the remaining forest cover in their country. Whatever remaining forest they have in their country, do something to conserve that forest cover. Do something to increase the forest cover of your country. Japan will not come to India and teach us how to increase the forest cover in our country. India has to take measures for India, Japan has to take measures for Japan, China has to take measures for China, America has to take measures for their own country. So each country was told that whatever forest cover you have, try to conserve that and try to increase the forest cover in your country, right? Then the next one, the next principle was Convention on Biological Diversity, which told the countries that whatever biodiversity, whatever flora and fauna you have in your country, please protect that, because we know that most of the plant and animal species are today endangered because of man. So whatever flora and fauna we have, each and every country has to take action to conserve and protect biodiversity within their country. And the last one was the framework on climate change, which told the countries to take very stringent and strict action to prevent the emission of greenhouse gases. Okay, global warming is very, very prominent in nature today. The whole world is facing the wrath of global warming. So each and every country was told in the Rio summit that every country has to take action to try and reduce the emission of greenhouse gases so that global warming can be prevented, right? So there were 5 agendas: the Rio Declaration, Agenda 21, Framework Convention on Forest, Framework Convention on Biodiversity, and the Framework Convention on Climate Change. These were the agendas that were discussed, how to protect the environment from further damage. So this was about the Earth Summit, which is a very, very important question for you to understand. And also please remember that the last Earth Summit that we had was in the year 2012, and again that was in Rio de Janeiro. The next topic, that is UN's International Conference on Population and Development, I will be discussing in my next class. Thank you, class.